it's me, Dottie, right now, and I'm gonna try something new on this Dottie Wheeler channel, not Dottie Wheeler TV. Y'all know that. It's gonna be called a Larry Stylinson story thing, and I'm gonna be reading a paragraph of a story, or I'm gonna be reading about 2 to 3 paragraphs of a story every night. And if somebody walks in, like I said, and asks me what I'm doing, is Joella. Don't mind her. She's my roommate right now. So, and I'm not wearing my glasses because it's 10:20 at night and nobody's really up in there, and Joella's probably still in the living room, and yeah. Okay. Okay, this is chapter 14. I already read other 13 channels, but I actually might get upset because of this, and it's Larry Stylinson, I Sleep Naked, and I love this so much. I thought I would share the 14th paragraph with you, okay? It says, confidence isn't something you just have. Even the most beautiful people can be insecure about themselves, although beauty is known to retain happiness and courage. Confidence is all about how you feel, not what you look like, and Harry was the exact opposite of that. Every time he looked at himself in the mirror, he wanted to take a straightener to his unruly stubborn curls. He wanted his eyes to look like Louis, blue and beautiful and sparkly. Her lips looked like a girl, in which he didn't like at all. And his nose was too big. But no, he wasn't the only thing he that lowered his confidence. That if he was in a large group, he felt so incredibly small, like every person in the world could crush him with one word. He felt as everyone secretly hated how quiet he was, how thoughtful and shy he was. He could practically hear their thoughts telling him that he's a crybaby and he's too sensitive. And yeah, he had started off high school with 2 amazing best friends, the greatest, most caring best friend would ever ask for. But when he walked through the hallways on the first day, he thought he was going to cry until he saw Louis Tomlinson. Then it wasn't about him. It wasn't about the inexperience and awkwardness and clumsy as it was about Louis. Louis was the sunshine smile in his baggy sweatpants and long shaggy hair. He played boots, and Harry happened to own the same pair of, and his loud laugh that he could hear from a mile away. So his confidence, although low, didn't seem to matter much until Now and Zane became more popular and started forgetting Harry, even though they slept over together every Friday. They talked about being people and Harry dreamed to be. Harry, being watchful and thoughtful, noticed how Niall started bleaching his hair blonde, and how he started to dress more like the popular kids. He saw how Zane styled his hair into a quiff and began to say phrases that didn't even sound like himself. So he noticed how they would get too large. High school parties that Harry only saw through pictures on Twitter, but he didn't say anything. His confidence just went down lower and lower until they had to be started talking to Louis for real. The fact that Louis actually took time out of his wonderful life to speak to Harry was unbelievable, and that made Harry feel just a little bit better. And for a week there was a smile on his face more than half in the time, which was quite different than usual. He felt like he had laughed more than that week than they had the whole year. But the best moment, the biggest burst of confidence was when they walked into school on Monday morning. When Louis and Liam were on the left, with Louis with a hand on his waist, and Niall and Zane were on the right, and he couldn't help but smile because he awkward, weird, quiet. Harry was in the middle. Louis was touching him, and Louis was touching him. Zane was vulgar to drive all of them to school when they had finally left the put course. Harry was very eager to agree as the rest of the boys, so Harry felt like he was on Mean Girl strutting down the hallway in the black skinny and white t-shirt, and Zane had let him borrow again and a Benny upon his curls. Louis and him were almost matching, except for the fact that Louis was wearing his usual tank top, but their bennies were the same color, and Louis was the one that had styled his hair. Everyone in the hallway either stared at them or did a double take when they saw the group of five, and Harry was just blushed and looked at the ground, especially when Louis tightened his arms around the youngest boy's waist. Now and Zane seemed obvious, laughing and joking around as if they were being started at. Liam just looked ahead with a small smile on his 20-shade face, but all Harry could do was first look at Louis, hand on the right hip, and then lift his head and stare with wide eyes at Louis, at his calm, relaxed face and his vibrant blue eyes, and was framed by coal black lashes. Liam was the first to leave the group, and then Louis, and then it was like old times. Harry, Zane, and now Harry's confidence immediately crashed because that what Louis did. You couldn't help but feel proud and confident when they were a beaming, adorable, popular, and unbelievable beautiful boy standing next to you. Harry was brought back to primary school the minute he walked into the lunchroom. Now was the only one out of Harry's four friends that didn't have the same lunch as him, so it was only Liam, Zane, and Louis sitting together. He had brought his own lunch. It was his unusual peanut butter and jelly sandwich with a bag of baked Lay's chips, along with the Mountain Dew he bought from the vending machine every day. He's gone halfway to the blue lunch table in the middle of the lunchroom, in which his friends were sitting at, where he felt something bump into him hardly. It was Stan Lucas. Harry knew quite a bit about Stan Lucas. He knew that him and Louis used to be friends, and they all went to primary school. He knew that Stan was probably the biggest jerk at their school, and he was a sad boy on the inside, but there out was feelings by hurting others. It was easy for Harry to figure that out. It took a lot of staring during the lunch and passing periods, and a lot of things. And now Stan Lucas was standing right in front of him with an annoyed look on his face and his hands clenched in fists. And all Harry could do was shake and stare at the ground, scared out of his mind. Stan punched people. Stan hit people. "Where do you think you're going?" the older boy asked, and Harry flinched when he felt Stan grab his arm. "I'm going to eat lunch," he whispered wearily, and he had been in a while. "Yeah, I know that you are retarded, so where are you eating lunch?" "At a table," he replied, confused and fearful. "Don't be smart with me." Stan leaned in closer, and so close that Harry could feel his hot breath hitting his face. "Who are you sitting with?" "Zane, Liam, Louis, really?" The curly-haired boy nodded. "Why, he doesn't even like you. In fact, he told me that he thinks you're weird and mental and that you freak him out." Harry didn't want to believe it, but he could imagine Louis saying it, and that's what hurt the most. It hurt so bad that he actually had to step back and drop his lunch, wrapping his arm around himself as he felt his lips tremble. "I freak Louis out," he whispered to himself, squeezing himself tighter and tighter, and he couldn't breathe. "I see why he said, 'Look at you, you're a freak.'" Harry could feel it taking over he could feel the blood rushing through his veins and the quivering of his legs. I'm a freak," he squeezed his eyes shut, blocking out Stan's rude comments and the serious stares of nearby classmates. It seemed as if Stan could hear what Harry was repeating as he started saying it with him. "You're a freak, you're a freak, you're a freak." He was laughing now, a horrible sound that gave Harry a headache. His eyes hurt as his legs were going numb, and he couldn't feel anything. Stan kept doing it. He wouldn't stop, and Harry just had to scream, and he screamed so loudly that everyone in the lunchroom stopped talking and watched him. He couldn't see them, but their stares were practically burning holes in his head. He started shaking harder when he heard Zane and Louis' voices. "I know what to do, okay?" It was Zane. "No, I do. Let me do it, okay? I've done this before." Louis' voice wasn't so sweet anymore. Harry didn't want to hear it after what he had said. Then there was silence, and Harry let out a whimper when he felt arms wrap around him. They were warm and they were soft, but there wasn't any fabric, which meant they weren't wearing sleeves. Then Harry could smell that musky, beautiful scent that he had been to love about. Now it hurt his head. "Go away," he breathed, squirming in Louis's arms and opening his eyes. "Go away." His voice sounded so loud in the silent room it echoed, and he was so embarrassed and scared, and he didn't know what to do as he looked around. Their wide eyes, some filled with sorrow and some even scared them, made his heart hurt worse than before. "Get off of him," Zane yelled, and then Louis was being yanked away from Harry, and never had the curly-hat lad been more thankful for his best friend. "I'll hold you, baby, I'll hold you. Just go to sleep." Zane's voice was more comfortable than Louis, and had been because Louis thought it was a freak and he didn't like it. Zane's arms weren't as warm and tight around him as Louis's had been, but it was okay because he wasn't mad at Zane. It took him longer to fall asleep, but he finally did. When Zane carried him out of the lunchroom and he could hear Louis following him, but he didn't think about it. That he just cried silently because his stomach was hurting and he couldn't breathe. His sleep wasn't that peaceful, but it was sleep. He woke up in a room that smelled like new shoes and hand sanitizer. He scrubbed up his nose and opened his eyes to a bright light that was hovering over his head. There was a curtain around the bed it was laying in, and when he saw the posters all over the wall, he realized he was in the nurse's office. He decided to just stay awake until someone noticed, and about 5 minutes later the curtain was pulled back and walked in the nurse. He was dressed in a blue shirt with khaki pants along with a lab coat, and Harry knew he didn't actually need. "Hi, Harry, how are you feeling?" The curly-haired lad shrugged because he couldn't remember anything. The only thing he could think of was that Louis thought he was a freak. Louis Tomlinson, the person who loved the most in the world, he thought he was a freak, and that hurt. "Are you tired, hon? You can stay in here until you feel better." He shrugged again, not really knowing what to say. "Do you want me to get your friend Zane?" He nodded, pulling his legs to his chest and picking on the loose thread by his ankle. Harry lifted his head and shook his curls out of his face. "Hi, Zane." He quietly looked back at his shoes with a frown. "Hi, H. How are you feeling?" "I've already been asked that," he said. "I don't know." "Louis wants to talk to you." Zane looked scared as he shuffled back and forth next to Harry's bed. The younger boy immediately shook his head, his curls flying and his eyes wide open. No, I will not speak to him. He hates me anyway," he mumbled, the last person, but Zane could obviously hear him. "No, he doesn't. Why would you say that?" "He said I was a freak and that I was annoying and weird," Harry whispered. Did Stan tell you that?" Harry nodded. "Well, don't listen to him. Hi, Harold." And then Harry was blushing, and he didn't know what to do because Louis was standing in the doorway. But now he was holding Harry's lunchbox, and his hair was messed up as if he had ran his hands through it a lot. He didn't respond to Louis even when he repeated himself and sat on the edge of his bed. Love, I know you can hear me. You're sitting right there, and you look like you've been seeing a dying cow." Harry tried not to smile, but Louis was too funny and adorable, and he had to. "Please don't speak to me." He wanted to sound mean, but his laughing betrayed him. Louis didn't seem very happy, though, as there was tears welling up in his eyes. "Harry, I don't know what I did wrong, but I am sorry. I know I'm a freak, but the least you can do is tell me to my face." Harry rose from the bed and walked out of the room just as Louis had opened his mouth to respond, but honestly he didn't care what Louis had to say. Okay, that was it, and if you're wanting to do you want me to finish it, and I can go back to 15, but remember what page I'm on, but if you want me to finish it on